All right, the last little bit of this chapter 8.3 is about this question D. So if we go back to question D, it says, if the school decides to run the same program the following year, it's assuming that the transition matrix still applies. It gives us some information. So if in the long term, 108 students are expected to take organisational skills, the question it's asking is, what is the expected number of students who will select study skills? Now, the information that we don't know in this question is how many students total we have. So to calculate this answer, we need to know how many students we had in the cohort. So we have to take this information of the 108 to find that information out. So if we go down, we've got our transition state. Okay, so we've already raised it to the power of 40 to know where the student percentages are going to sit. So we know that about 47% are going to sit at study skills, 16% are going to be at, was that time management or stress management, and 37% are going to be at organisational. Sorry, study skills. Yeah, okay. Doesn't matter what they are, we've got our values here, we can recheck the question. So we know that we would normally go, if we were trying to solve for the number of students in study skills, we would go 47% of our total number of students gives us the value. That's the formula we'll be working with. But we don't have the total number of students. So we're going to keep that idea of what our formula would look like to solve that, and fill it in with the two pieces of information that we do have. So the information that we do have is the expected students for organisational skills and the percentage that correlates there, or the decimal value in this case, which we can use. All right, it's the same thing. So normally we would go, remember, the total number of students multiplied by this value gives us the actual number of students. Okay, so total number of students times by that value, which we've got here, equals the number of students. So those are the two pieces of information that we have. We've substituted them in, and we want to find the total number of students. Now, you can either rearrange this algebraically or pop it into your CAS calculator. Just call this a variable. You might want to use X, you might want to use Y, might want to use T for total number of students. So T times by this value here, okay, equals the value that we were given in the question, which was 108, comma, and we're solving for T if that's the variable that you used. So we find out that our total number of students is 293 students. So then we've now got our total number of students. We've got our value in here that we're going to multiply that by to find out how many students are going to select expected student for study skills. So this question is where you're going to have to apply your knowledge. You need to take information from the question to find out a piece of information you don't know yet, to then apply that in a different situation to find out other information that the question is asking for. All right. Practice these questions. Make sure that you understand how to do this. It is really important. Okay. We are going to find r to the power of n for a large value of n and read from the matrix. So back up to the question. The school realizes the following year different transition matrix applies. Describe the long-term trend. Now, we have zeros in here. So if we raise that, so all we're doing is we're raising that new transition matrix to a large value. They've selected 40. And again, you could pick 70, you could pick 112. I don't mind which it is, but make sure that it is large enough to get to an equilibrium state. So in the long term, because all of our students are ending up at O, all of our students are actually going to end up doing organizational skills in the long term. So that's how you read that. All right, I'll leave that there. We've got 2 more parts to go through, and then it'll be getting ready for the SAT.